Hi, I'm Bob Hochmuth, a Regional Extension Agent with the University of Florida IFAS Extension System. And we're here at the North Florida Research and Education Center, Swanee Valley, which is just east of the town of Live Oak. And today I'm going to be talking about one of our watermelon experiments that we're conducting here. This particular study that I'm standing in front of is one of the controlled release fertilizer studies that we are conducting here at the center, and we've been doing this work for the past 2 or 3 years. In this study, what we're doing is comparing a controlled release fertilizer, a complete fertilizer that would be applied at the beginning of the season under the plastic, and that would be the only fertilizer that that watermelon crop would receive. The controlled release fertilizer treatment would be in comparison to the current way that we would be fertilizing watermelons, where a small amount of fertilizer will be put out ahead of the season in the bed, but the remainder of the two main ingredients, nitrogen and potassium, would be injected into the fertilizer every week, or even more frequently than once a week by growers. So we want to compare those two treatments. So the way that I've got this set up is individual plots. The plots are 75 feet long, and every 75 feet would be either controlled release or conventional fertilizer. After the first part of the season, when the fertilizer begins to run out, and we find that answer based on leaf tissue analysis over the course of the season. And when we realize that the leaf tissue analyses are beginning to dip, then we would begin our weekly injections. And to do the weekly injections, we have a system here on this table that's set up where I have two individual irrigation lines that go out. One line is connected to all of the controlled release fertilizer plots, and the other line is connected to all of the conventional fertilizer treatment plots. And then once a week, I use this peristaltic pump that's sort of a roller type pump that squeezes the fertilizer from the bucket and pushes it into the irrigation line and on out. So in the conventional system, what I'm doing is using a combination of potassium nitrate and ammonium nitrate measured out in very specific amounts for these plots, and that would be put in one bucket and stirred up and injected into the conventional plots. Because I've already mentioned that the controlled release fertilizer plots are not going to receive any more fertilizer, I want to make sure that everything is equal, so that just gets injected with plain water so that the irrigation during that fertigation event is equal between the two treatments. And I use a little portable generator, the peristaltic pump, and then I can inject it straight into our irrigation lines here. We are currently in our controlled release fertilizer treatment using a material manufactured by Harrell's Fertilizer Company. Harrell's is one of several of the controlled release fertilizer companies that we're working with here on various crops, watermelons, carrots, and corn, for instance. But the previous years of research suggest that a material like a 15-3-21 with all the micronutrients is a good mix for what is put underneath this bed, and that's the fertilizer material that we're using. It's made specifically for watermelons, and the release rate is based on temperature. So we know what the typical temperatures are going to be during our watermelon season, and the manufacturers are able to build a polymer around the fertilizer that would release it as the crop needs it over the course of the season. So that's what we've got going on in this particular fertilizer study. We have another one similar to this that we're using controlled release fertilizer, and a little different approach to things. I'll talk about that in our next set of videos.